everyone. Lovely to see some new people and some regulars here tonight. And I really do appreciate you all coming along on this absolutely boiling hot evening. I don't know how hot it is where you are, but it's flipping boiling here. And I am melting a little bit, but there you go. I suppose we shouldn't complain, but that's what we do in Britain, don't we? I know some of you will have broken up today. Some of you may still have another week to go. If this is your first time, yes, Julie, thank you. Please do say hello in the chat. Please do make book recommendations in the chat. I'm always looking for more book recommendations, but you might have a few to take away with you by the end of the evening. I have, as always, got a lot of books to show you this evening. So we are starting off, as always, with the picture books, which, as many of you know, are my great love. And I've got some absolutely fabulous ones to show you tonight. Starting with, speaking of absolutely fabulous, Great Aunt Margot and Me. This is such a joyous, lovely, family-centered LGBTQ plus picture book, and it's subtle, but it's empathetic and empowering. Absolutely loved it. Very sensitive portrayal of an older person as well, who's actually starting to, we gather, is starting to get dementia. But as I say, the overall feel of the book is just joyous. If I could sum it up in one word, that would definitely be it. The Fluffy Futon. This is such a funny book. It's about an older lady who's putting her newly washed futon out to dry in the sun, and it's very soft and it smells really clean, and so she's put it out to dry, and she's hoping that it's going to be really nice. However, unfortunately, the futon isn't empty for very long. It's she ends up with a cat settling down for a snooze, and then a dog, and then grandma decides, oh well, the dog's there, the cat's there, I might as well sit down and have a sleep. And then there's some hen and some chicks, a little boy, goodness only knows. The whole household ends up taking a nap on this futon. It's such a gentle story, and so much fun and very warming. Yeah, I agree, Helen. There does seem to be quite a lot of picture books coming out that are looking at dementia. I think that's a really good thing. That one I was particularly impressed with. Bart is different. Now, this is about a spider, so I shouldn't really like it because I don't like spiders, but Bart is lovely. Bart is a spider who's not like other spiders because he runs about and he jumps and he doesn't listen at school and he's scolded by the teacher. To be fair, reading it as an adult, Bart obviously has ADHD and is feeling very different, and he doesn't get on with all of the other spiders. However, something he is good at is drawing pictures. And when he shows his very first picture, his family and his classmates are just bowled away, and he gets the recognition that he should have had all along for being a little bit different. And indeed, this positive reinforcement means that when he grows up, he becomes a famous spider artist. It's just lovely. Really enjoyed that one. Poonam Mysteries illustrations are some of my favourite illustrations. I wouldn't say they're my actual favourite. I think some of you will well know my love of Jackie Morris, but Poonam Mystery comes a very close second. The detail in her illustrations are just phenomenal. Absolutely beautiful illustrations. This one's got a really nice, a really important message about ecology, and about grief and about hope. Actually, it's very hopeful. Beautiful story. Would make a wonderful gift for any young child, or indeed anyone older. Yeah, This one, biggest cat in all the world. You can probably see why this is one of my favourites this time, because I have two cats, one of whom, Gambit, you can see in the picture, is a huge cat. A huge cat, my Gamby. Some might even say fat, but we don't like to say that in front of him. And when this book came in the post, I was absolutely delighted with it. It's a beautiful counting book as well, and it shows you all sorts of different types of cat. Any cat lover would definitely love this one, and I think my granddaughter Cassie is going to pinch this off me very soon. Very soon. Ziggy the Caterpillar's Zigzag Adventure. Another one about an insect who is very different. Beautiful, beautiful, bright colours. And it's a good introduction to mindfulness and patience. Ziggy really is definitely, as it says, he is ADHD, and he does an awful lot of running around and not a lot of staying still and thinking. And during the course of the story, he actually manages to realise that his wiggly ways are absolutely fine, and he does learn some coping strategies of how he can deal with his restlessness. The Glamorous Grandmas. Well, of course, they're talking about me. No, they're not. I'm not a grandma. I'm a nanny. There you go. The Glamorous Grandmas, again, is a very joyous book, and it's a book about activism. It's about a child whose two grandmas are very attention grabbing because they wear very bright clothes, and it's hard not to notice them, and they often catch people staring and whispering, which is not very nice at all. Then there is an art gallery opens up in town, and the grandmas are really excited because it's going to change things for the better, and it's going to be very colourful and everything. But when they go inside the gallery, no, they're not so happy because everything is very grey and boring. So the grandmas and Archie decide that they're going to make the town realise how wonderful art can be, and they actually break in to the art gallery and replace all of the artworks with much brighter, zany art. And so colour is brought back into the town, and you can gradually see a rainbow spreading across the entire town. Really lovely. Did enjoy that one. Ian Eagleton is becoming well, a big name, I think, in pitch books. I've really loved his previous pitch books, especially Nen and the Fisherman. That was my one of my favourites. This one is about, it's actually written, I think, from Ian's own experiences. It's about a little boy who's desperate to go to the park with his two dads. But and he's happy to run around and climb things and jump up and down. But the two dads are a little bit worried because he might fall and he might injure himself, and they might have to take him to the hospital. And it's a brilliant representation of that helicopter parenting that I think most of us have felt at some point. I think I certainly did with my youngest. But after some time, they realise that the poor little boy, he's not having any fun because he's not allowed to do anything. And so he ends up in tears, and then he has a great idea, and he decides that they should all play together because then his dads will feel more confident, which they do. And they play pirates and swooping birds and goodness only knows what else. Lovely bright illustrations from Hayley Wells, and a story that I think we would all identify with. What can I say? The Bakery Dragon and the Fairy Cake and the Bakery Dragon. It's got dragons and it's got a bakery. How can there be anything wrong? There cannot be anything wrong with a story that has got both a bakery and dragons in, I don't think, in my opinion, because you know, they're two of my favourite things. Definitely two of my favourite things. So I am absolutely in love with these. The illustrations are beautiful. They are very much very cute, beautiful illustrations. And yeah, I've got a real thing at the moment, Candice, on cozy fantasy, and these two definitely do definitely fit into that. Yes, the Tea Dragon Society is a great graphic novel series that's in a similar vein. Yeah, thanks for that, Candice. Yeah. Oh, there's a game too, Helen. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. I shall be on the hunt. My favourite animal is a tiger. I actually have a tiger tattoo on my arm. Some of you may have seen it. And this one is all about tigers, and it's a bit of a tear-jerking story in places. It's about conservation, and the poor little tiger cub is fast running out of places to live, as are all of the tigers, because of the threat of deforestation. And unfortunately, there's a fire, and the mum and the cub get separated. And so this poor little tiger cub has to go off and find himself try and find his mum. And he has to go on a very long journey, which is rather dangerous. But I'm very happy to say that by the end of the book, he does find his mum. It's got a very important message. The illustrations, Megan Snyder's illustrations, are just charming. And it's one that's going to be staying on my bookshelf. It's one that the granddaughter will not be pinching. Thanks very much, Helen, for putting the game link into the chat. I shall come back and have a look at that later. Thank you. I feel some retail therapy coming on. Oliver Jeffers, come on. If it's Oliver Jeffers, I'm pretty sure I'm going to like it. And this is certainly no exception. This is all about a little boy, Herbie, who's got the sniffles. So he's not that ill, but he doesn't feel that wonderful. So he's allowed to stay at home from school, and he is over the moon. He's so excited, thinking about all the things he can do. And he has time to play his favourite game, which is Space Blasters, watch cartoons, and do whatever he wants, or so he thinks. But by lunchtime, he's feeling a little bit bored, to be honest, and he's wondering about what he might be missing. And his imagination starts to go totally overboard. What if there's an extra playtime, a dog on the loose, or a pirate invasion? The page with the pirate invasion illustration is just wonderful. It's just so funny. And Herbie is very upset by the end of the day, because he really feels as though he's missed out. He's missed out on everything during the day. So the very next day, as you can probably guess, Herbie is very happy to go back to school. And then he may then find that all these exciting things happen. Spoiler alert, they don't. And he has a very boring day, but there you go. This I've only seen a proof of. I've not seen the finished copy yet. This is Sally Nichols' first picture book. And indeed, it is inspired by her own child. And it's all about poor mummy O'Hare, who is trying to get out of the house with her two little bunny boys, Jackson and Harley. But unfortunately, they're not really interested in hurrying up or leaving the house or putting their shoes on, or indeed doing anything that mum or dad want them to do. It is just hilarious, and it's easily recognisable as something that anybody with young children has been through many times. I really enjoyed this story, and I'm hoping that Sally Nichols does do more picture books, because it's really good. And Ellie Snowden's illustrations, as you can see from the front cover, are lovely. This is the second one in this series. Now, this is one that I know is not going to stay in my house. because my granddaughter loved the first one so much that I'm sure she's going to snaffle this one. Duck is a delivery duck for Feather Force. And in the first book, he got into so many mishaps and was delivering things all over the world, and ended up where he was going almost by accident. Very true of this story as well. He's given a task of delivering an enormous cake, an absolutely enormous cake, as you can see on there, which doesn't look at all safe on his scooter. And he realizes that he's going to have to swap this scooter because it's not really going to work, which then means that we end up taking an enormous cake into lots of forms of transport that really don't seem to be that easy, that easily able to accommodate the cake. It's very funny, and there's a really good switch at the end that I really didn't see coming, in that who the cake's going to, because we find out the cake is actually going to Duck's boss. As I say, very, very funny, and yeah, it definitely gets Cassie's seal of approval. This one's perhaps for slightly younger children, but the production of it is very clever and really engaging. It's called The Tiger Child, and there is a hole or an aperture in every single page so that it leads you through the pages. You peek through each page to get to the next page, and then at one part in the story you're faced with an actual pop-up, which is quite a surprise at the moment that it comes up. And this little girl is very shy, and she doesn't really like going out on her own, and she gets very nervous, and then she decides to follow a tiger's tail, and she goes out into the jungle, which I very much think is probably her garden, and goes adventuring and meets up with various different animals. It's very gentle but very encouraging for those shy children that perhaps don't want to put themselves forward or don't want to do a lot of adventuring. As I say, beautiful production, very well produced. This one is a poetry book in a picture book, and it is glorious. Absolutely glorious. It's got a poem on each page, richly illustrated pages. Some very fanciful poems, some quite funny, some a little bit more everyday, if you like. But it's the Vivian Schwartz's illustrations perfectly complement the poetry, and there's a really nice symmetry between the poems and the pictures. Absolutely beautiful. I'll come back to this one later. Okay, middle grade. What have we read this last 6 weeks? Dory Phantasmagory, Dory Black Sheep. This is apparently hugely successful in another country, and I can't remember where it was. I think it's Australia, and it's the first time it's been published over here in the UK. It's a very good early reader. I think this would be great for kids that have only just started reading, and it's school-based. It's a school-based story, but Dory is struggling a bit because she can't really. The other children are reading and are running forward with their reading, but Dory really can't get there with the reading. And but the thing is, her imagination is amazing, absolutely amazing, and she imagines all these fantastic adventures and all these amazing things that could happen. And her best friend absolutely loves. But she's also imagined herself a nemesis, Mrs. Grobblegracker, and it's a little bit of a problem when a naughty little girl who looks an awful lot like her imaginary nemesis shows up. And then there's a black sheep that leaves the pages of the book that follows Dory to school, which causes chaos. It's really funny, and there is hope for Dory. As we go on with the story, she gradually starts to learn to read. But I'm very glad to say that she doesn't lose her imagination, and she's always very imaginative. I have read quite a few dragon books at the moment, and I know I do love dragon books, and I know some of you know that, but that's not the reason why I've read so many dragon books. I've just been sent a load of dragon books at the moment, so I am reading quite a lot of them. This one I thought was really interesting because it's an adventure story, and it's about Flynn, who doesn't think that he's got what it takes to be a dragon rider, but accidentally a dragon kidnaps him to be a partner in some trials, and so he kind of has to get on with it. The thing that's interesting about the book is that there are little puzzles for you to complete all through the book, which I think is fantastic. I think it's really, really great. The only thing I would say is if you were lending this out from a library, you might want to lend it out with some paper and make sure you tell them not to be writing in the book. That's the only thing. That's the only thing. I think some of the kids would be tempted to write within the book. But I loved the puzzles that were going through it, and they really added some really strong interactivity. Oh, sorry, I'm just going to have a slurp. Children of Wolf Rock, Natasha Farron. This was great. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. This was it's about a young girl who is not really getting on in education, and her mum and dad are given the chance to send her to an academy, which is out in the wilds of nowhere, and it's run by its headmaster, Major Fortescue. He wants children to run free, and he wants them to learn in a different way. And she does make a couple of friends there, although it's not that easy. You know, she does have to, they do have to work quite hard to get her to accept them. But then they do meet a former student who is living in the wild with her guitar and her dog. And they become friends with this former student, but they don't tell anyone she's there. However, she does suddenly go missing, and the things that she's told them are proven to be untrue. However, but the kids still want to find her because, you know, this young lady's gone missing, and some adults think she's died, which they are sure she hasn't, and indeed she hasn't. There's a theme of abuse in there, a very strong theme of loyalty and friendship, and it all comes right in the end. It reminded me a little bit of it brought the Famous Five back to my mind. Oh, Heather's just saying that Natasha's just visited their school to talk about Children of Wolf Rock, and she was great. Fabulous. There we go. And as I say, it's a really good adventure story, and it did put me in mind of the Famous Five. Isadora Moon, and I actually love Isadora Moon, and I've got a real soft spot for Isadora Moon. I think they're good fun books, and this one is about when Isadora goes off and she is lucky enough to go to a concert, and she meets some pop stars. It's very funny. She goes to see a band called Glitterbat, because no surprise really, Isadora is pretty much a goth. You know, not really a surprise. There you go. And she's learned these new dance moves, but she's a little bit worried to show them at school because she thinks they're all going to think she's weirder than she is at the moment. However, luckily, it all comes around, and in the end, she is the one that manages to persuade the teacher to have a glitter bat themed party, and indeed, the group actually show up. And they have all come into the band, come to the school, and so she definitely becomes a bit of a hero to her friends because she's introduced them to this great group. Yeah, Helen's saying she's got a long reservation list for the couple of Isadora Moon books I have in the library. Yeah, hoping to order more over the holidays though. Yeah, I think they're really great. I really do like them stories. But this isn't Harriet Muncaster's only new book this time. She's also brought out the second one in the Diary of Whisker Wildflower, which are very whimsical. This one, it's a bit more. It's more ecologically based, and it's again about friendship. I think Harriet Muncaster really does write about children's friendships really, really well. And there's a little bit of danger, a little bit of adventure, but the actual book itself, and I've got to mention this because I am easily swayed, it's got gorgeous bright green sprayed edges as well, which did catch my eye. I'm not going to say it didn't. This one, I've read the first one and I've started the second one, but I probably won't get time to finish the second one. But I think this is one of my favourite middle grade reads of this 6 weeks. This very, very much reminded me of The Faraway Tree. And in fact, in the first book, there is mention of The Faraway Tree. Andy Shepherd does pay a little homage to The Faraway Tree in the first one. And it's all about a magical wood. And the trees are not doing very well. The trees are starting to die off, and the magic is slowly going. And Iggy and his new brother Cal, who are still getting used to each other, because one's much older than the other, and so the younger stepbrother, he's not quite sure what he's doing, and whether he's going to be looking after him, whether they're going to get on. But they have to find a way to try and bring back the magic to the forest. There are some absolutely lovely descriptions in here of the trees and the way they sound and the way it feels in the wood. And as I say, I think the second one equally as good. I just haven't quite got around to finishing it at the moment. Well, this one, Rebecca Ruard, is one of our own guys. She is still a school librarian. And so, you know, come on, I had to read it. And I'm happy to say that I was pleased I had read it. It's an adventure story about not dragons, but wyverns, who are slightly different to dragons. And it's a very daring, positive female protagonist who seems totally brave and wants to travel away to find her sister, who has been stolen away by baddies, if you like. Very interesting concept, in that the island that Wren lives on is an island that's floating above the sea. It's up in the air. And so the only way she can get around is probably going to be to tame a wyvern. But is she going to be able to do that? Because the wild wyverns are not very keen on human contact. So, spoiler alert, yes, she does. Really nice. And what I loved was the way that she kind of bribes the wyvern. Is that wyverns apparently are obsessed with chocolate. And so she bribes it with chocolate, which, you know, who's going to complain at that? The Youngest Faircrest is the one I am reading at the moment. I think I'm about 2/3 of the way through, and I'm enjoying it. It's about it's very sad at the beginning, because all of the children in this particular place in Bogsmarsh, at the age of 12, their job, if you like, or their vocation is chosen, and it's not chosen by them, it's chosen by somebody else. I do apologise, I've just got to let a cat in. Come on then. And it's chosen by somebody else, and you can be all sorts of things. You could be a storyteller or a scientist or all sorts of different things. But there is one thing that you do not want to be. And the one thing is something called a dearth. And there has only ever been one dearth before, and that dearth was a scarecrow. But sadly, our hero, youngest, is indeed declared a dearth, and is absolutely beside himself because, you know, he doesn't want to go on a procession because he doesn't want everybody looking at him and everybody thinking ill of him, which they certainly will because he has not been given a profession. So what he chooses to do, magic has been stolen at some point, and so he decides he's going to go off into a big dark wood and find a sorcerer and find this magic item which will bring the magic back to his town. But I don't know whether he finds it or not because, as I say, I haven't quite finished it yet, but I'm really enjoying this one. Sarah Hagerholt's books I always enjoy, and this one is a really interesting one that's about adoption, and it's about two sisters who are adopted separately, and one of them knows about her sister, the other one doesn't. But then when they both start at secondary school, they do end up meeting up at a chance meeting, which, you know, they don't even realise that they're sisters, and they do become friends. But their parents do realise, and so it all comes out. Neither of the girls really know how to deal with it. One of them's quite excited, the other one really just doesn't know quite what to do. Ella's is only got a mum, and her mum doesn't really approve of Ari's two dads. And there's definitely a bit of homophobia there, which is very difficult for Ella to deal with. They both join a singing group at school, a music group, and they go on the yearly singing trip to France, but unfortunately it all doesn't go as planned, and there's something that happens that brings them both even closer together. Really sensitive discussion of the issues and the things that being adopted can mean to a child. And yes, Helen, I would definitely get this one. Okay, that was the last one. Yeah, right. YA and adult books. Okay, I don't often do this, but this is not a recommendation from me because I've not read it. I was out with a close friend recently, Alison Tarrant, and I was saying to Ali how I'm getting sent a load of romantasy at the moment, which certainly isn't my favourite genre, but that I think there's a real need, you know, for more clean romantasy. And then she told me about this one, which she'd just read, and she said it's a really lovely fantasy romance, and it's completely clean, so she wouldn't be worried about giving this to anybody. So I'm going to look out for it, and then if I can get hold of it, I'll read it as well. But I'm always happy to take recommendations from friends. These two, Capitano and Libertad, I read both of them. Now, the difficulty is with these, I read the first one, and then I found out that there is some quite a bit of controversy about this author, about Cassandra Drains, who is very much a Trump supporter, and there's been quite a lot of talk about her on Goodreads and things like that. But I'm going to judge the books on the books, and I really did get into these two stories, Capitano and Libertad. It's about a very strong young female character who becomes a pirate. I do love pirate stories. It's very female positive. It's adventurous. It's about family and found family. And it's they're both quite an exciting read. So yeah, I'd recommend them. Okay. Now, as I said, I am being sent a lot of romances and romantasy recently. And you will see that up at the top here, I have put 4, not just 1, but 4 spicy peppers. Because this is definitely not clean. Not saying it's dirty, but it's not without its spicy moments. In fact, it is very much there's 2 very spicy scenes. One of which, and I said to someone today I was going to tell you about this because some of you might understand this. There is a scene, the whole idea is there's a girl who is paid to pretend that she is a pop star's girlfriend because he's been in some scandal, and so they're trying to clean up his image. Well, inevitably, the 2 of them become attracted to each other, and they are at a, I'm thinking how to put this nicely. Right, they are at a society event, and there's one of those free photo machines, where you can go in and you can get 4 photos. And they go into this photo machine, and I'm not going to describe what happens in this photo machine. Let's just say she comes out of it very happy. And then they go off and they go home. All I could think about, guys, was the fact that those photo machines, when they're free ones, they often go off automatically. And all my brain was saying to me was, where are those photos? Why haven't they checked for those photos? Because they're going to be out in the media. Yeah, that's where my brain goes sometimes. There you go. But this one, I would definitely only give to year 11 and above. I have to say, the depiction of sex between 2 partners who are both as into it and are both yeah, sorry guys, some of you choking on your water. It was just the way my brain went. I just couldn't get away from this thought that this photo machine was taking photos. Anyway, yeah, I do think there is a need for books that do portray equal sexual relationships, because there is too much out there that they are going to run into with the misogyny and everything else. Having said that, yeah, handle with care, this one, definitely. And this one as well. Fake out, make out. What I liked about it, because it's kind of about games that they've set up, and it's about the jet setters, and it's European settings, and it's espionage, etc. And I did enjoy the espionage theme, but again, it is very spicy. Now, those 2 are going to be in the secondary pack I'm giving away. So if you apply for the secondary pack, I will put a note on the front of both of them just to remind whoever that gets them. I think she has got a gun strapped to her thigh, Helen. Yeah, what can I say? It makes a change though, doesn't it? It makes a change from the bloke being the one with the gun. So there you go. I enjoyed the story, but I will make sure that I put a note on these before I send them out. The Call is not by any means a new book. It's 10 years old. This is the 10th year reissue, but I missed it the first time. And I listened to this one as an audiobook, and it's read by the author. Absolutely loved it. Loved it, because I always enjoy listening to a book that's read to you by the author, because the author knows where they wanted to put the emphasis, what they wanted to talk about, and etc. And I've just told you the wrong thing because I didn't listen to this one as audiobook. That's the next one. Just ignore that bit, guys. I read this one, but I did enjoy it. And I'm surprised I didn't read it 10 years ago, actually, because it's a bit Hunger Gamesy. It's very female positive. Yeah, bit of dystopia. Sorry about that. There you go. Made a mistake. Told you the heat was getting to me. We'll get to the one that I listened to in just a moment. This one is a new one, and it's a mystery, a horror murder mystery. Really got into this. I really did. Did I guess the ending? No, I didn't, actually. I did not guess the ending. But what was so fascinating about it is set in it's set in a game show, but the game show, they have to get out of escape rooms. Each round they've got to escape from an escape room by using their brains and by doing puzzles and all sorts of different things, which was really fascinating. I really enjoyed that bit of it. It's a bit scary in places, but nothing in there that I would not give to year 7s, year 8s. You know, they read all sorts now, and it's not scary enough for me to say don't give it to them. Thoroughly recommend this. I thought it was really good. Oh, the audiobook's great for the escape game as well. There we go. We're getting a vote of confidence for the audiobook. That's great. Amy's saying she loves the call. Yeah. Yeah, I would love to see him talk Rabbit because, you know, it would be great. But I didn't listen to it, but there you go. Oh, and you've not read it yourself. You bought it for the library, Tracy. You've not read it yourself yet. You need to read it. You need to read it. I think you'll enjoy it. This is the one I listened to on audiobook, which again is not a new book. Stealing Happy by Brian Conahan. This was read by Brian Conahan, which was superb. Absolutely superb, because of course, being Scottish himself, he read it in the way, the accent that the characters would have had. Really, really finely drawn characters. Of course, Sonny, the main character, has got Tourette's, so it's a really good explanation of that and an exploration of that. It's interesting because it's dealing with the difficulties that have been happening in this family because the dad's suffering from long COVID, and it's the aftermath of lockdown. So I found that was really interesting. This kept me company on several long walks. My latest thing is going out for long walks every day, and I'm pleased to say I'm keeping up to it. But the reason I'm keeping to it is because I am making sure that I'm listening to Ace audiobooks, and this one really kept me walking. I kept getting to the stage where I was like, no, I can't stop walking at the moment because I want to finish the chapter. So there you go. Helen saying she really liked the endings that were offered or imagined in this year. My Litsock group had some great discussions about it. Brilliant. Yeah. Oh, I did love this. I did love this. Dead Real is it's a zombie thriller with a difference. Yeah, I'm going to have to give a bit of the plot away, but there you go. You think at the beginning that it's just a classic zombie thriller, and the family wake up in the morning and there are warnings, stay inside signs everywhere, on their phones, on the TV, everywhere. And Nora and her best friend Ruby, who she's actually in love with, but Ruby doesn't know, end up having to try and cross the country to get to a place of safety whilst being chased by zombies. And it all feels really, really real. And there's quite a few jump scares. I fully admit that I did a lot of like this, but all is not as it seems. And in fact, we find out later that it's all been a setup, and Ruby and Nora have been videoed and they've been going live on YouTube, and it's all been to test a new fat loss drug. It's gory, it's shocking, and it's a darn good read. Really liked it. This is beautifully written. Deathly Fates is about a priestess who her job is to guide the deceased. So she goes out to where they've died and she animates them enough to be able to move them and take them back to their family. She's given the job of going to find a missing family member that she does not realize at the time, but when she finds him, she realizes he is the prince of the most important man in the country. And actually, he's not fully dead. He's not quite dead, but he is in a very bad way. So she decides she's going to help him. So she has to help him to absorb chi from evil spirits by purifying evil spirits. And this journey that they take, which is to take him back to his family, proves to be perhaps not a good thing, because perhaps the family that he's returning to is not the one he thought he had. Really good piece of writing. Yeah, it does remind me a little bit of Sabriel and Nirael. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, there's a love story there as well. And I'm looking forward to it. There needs to be a second one. So I'm looking forward to reading the next one. I can't tell you how much I love this book. I love this book so much that I listened to it on audiobook, and then I went straight online and I bought myself a sprayed edge hardback copy because I had to have it in my home library because I'm always going to want this book. It's got amazing nods to classic literature sprinkled all through it. If you've read any of Anna James Book Wanderers series, it's kind of like that, but for grown-ups, if you like. It's for adults, and most of it reads as a love song to libraries. There are some absolutely brilliantly quotable bits in this that I'd actually like to make posters of and have up all over the place, because it's just a hymn to libraries. It really is. And this particular Alex, who's the main protagonist, you know, it gets to go to Sherlock Holmes London, and she goes to Jane Austen's time, and oh my goodness, it's there's a dragon as well. I didn't mention the dragon. Yes, there is a dragon. Not going to say anything more about the dragon because I'm hoping you're going to read it. I think any of you that read this, I think you'd love it, because it just reads as a protest against everything that's happening in America at the moment with libraries. It's a love song, and it's just stunning. And I know I'm rattling on, but I tell you, this is my top read so far this year, and I don't say that lightly. Yes, Heather, you do need it. You definitely need it. Get it tomorrow because you're going to love it. Absolutely love it, I think. Yeah, exactly right, Candice. Like the Starless Sea and the Storied Life of A.J. Vickroy. Yeah, these are beautiful love letters to books too. Yeah, definitely. What? Get it off your wish list, Jane, and buy it. It's just amazing. You won't be sorry. Graphic novels. This one is a new one on Core. It's about a trans young person who has grown up with a friend, but they have now drawn apart, and they don't know why, but funnily enough, you know, they do end up coming back together. And Clayton is very much a theatre kid, if you like, so he's doing lots of improv, whereas Aaron is the jock, if you like. And eventually they both realise that they are more alike than they are different, and they come back together. Okay, my obsession with Labyrinth. If this is your first time here, well, you won't know about it, but I am obsessed with Labyrinth. This was one that I treated myself to with a voucher that I was given for my birthday, and oh my god, is it beautiful. It's got lovely glossy pages. It goes through the full story in a graphic novel, and if you are a Labyrinth lover like me, all I'm going to say is you need it. It's as simple as that. Oh, this one, Queen of the Crypt. I went to the Bonnier summer showcase, and lots of wonderful books there, to be fair, lots of wonderful books, but this was the one that I got really excited by. The author was there, and they are very charismatic. This is their debut, and it's a graphic novel that turns the characters on their head, in that characters that we've always thought of as men, it makes female. So you've got Phantom of the Opera, you've got Dracula, you've got Invisible Man, who is actually an invisible woman. Then you've also got the Labyrinth graphic novel is amazing. Heather, you need it. There is a main character who is very strong, kick-ass young woman, and they discover their best friend. Well, they discover that their best friend has been kidnapped, and so they set out to try and save them. Barnaby is only just now starting to use the pronouns they and them, and is getting some not very positive kickback from their parents, which is proving to be very upsetting for them. But the other thing, there is a kick-ass librarian in this book, and it was just a joy, an absolute joy to read. I think this is going to go far, and it's only the first one. I'm hoping the second one will come out very, very soon. This one's not quite out yet. It's out in August, but I just had to tell you about it because I loved it so much. Oh, I've had some beautiful factual books this last 6 weeks. This one is a small book, and it's called Cute Factopia, and it's got all sorts of different facts in it, and it's a really good book to dip in and out of, you know, kind of like we do with Guinness World Records, things like that. And it branches off into different pages, so you'll learn one fact, and then it will say, oh, did you know this about another fact? And it will take you to another page, which is for everyone in the book, which is really interactive. And I did enjoy it. It's actually going to my granddaughter on Sunday, and I think she's going to love it as well. There's some really good, funny facts about giraffes in there, and the child's obsessed. So I think she will enjoy it. I love the way that it branches off to different pages, because it really does keep you interested. This book is stunning. Absolutely stunning. It's huge. I don't know if you can see I don't know if you can still see my picture, but it's about this big. And it's every single page is like this front cover, because every single page is covered in stunning tiny images of the things it's talking about. It's all about beetles and tree frogs and seashells and butterflies and all sorts of different things in nature. And each time you've got this great big glossy spread of lots of tiny pictures. This would make an amazing present for someone. It was one of those books that when I opened it, it was an audible intake of breath, because it is just so stunning. Poetry book. They Sent a Cat to Saturn. What I liked about this is that, for a start, it's divided up into different sections. I really enjoyed the mix of the serious with the ridiculous within it. Some of the poems are in Jamaican patois, which was really interesting to read. I'd love to hear them read aloud, because I'm probably not reading them properly myself, but great. It's gender positive, it's about kindness, it's about ridiculousness and home and friendship. Really nice anthology, and I did enjoy that one. These books are just amazing. I've had a couple of them so far. I think this is the fifth one. Anthology of Micro Life, and inside it's got lots of full colour photos of tiny things that you would never see, things that you'd never absolutely see, and it's all about those little things that we often don't see, but it's a way into that world. It's absolutely fascinating. I found I was going through it and going, oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. Because you don't think about these things. You just don't think about these things. And the production values on this is just beautiful, because it's got a lovely cloth bound cover with gilt engraving on it. An amazing present for anybody. Back to the cats. Bit of a theme here. Back to the Cats and the Tigers. This one is a non-fiction about cats, which is really fascinating. As you can see, did you know there was a prehistoric cat called a Smilodon, which was saber-toothed, and they hunted mammoths? No, nor did I. I kept coming across little facts in it that I didn't know about, and which I found really interesting. And also, each page has got little speech bubbles coming from the cats, and I've got to tell you, these cats are really sulky. It's got these like little sulky comments from the cats as you go through it, and it shows you lots of domestic cats, and also it shows you wild cats. It's got a little bit about cat care. Really, for cat lovers or anybody that just likes animals, they're going to love this one. This one is all about night houses, which I know now. I could tell you from when I was a school librarian 15 years ago, I've got two boys' faces in my head who would have just ripped this out of my hands and would have loved it. Lots about the history of lighthouses, about where they first originated, how they were built, and again, lots of interesting facts. I didn't know that the Statue of Liberty was intended as a lighthouse originally, for example, but apparently its torch wasn't bright enough for distant ships. So there you go. So it wasn't any good as a lighthouse, but it just stands as a monument now instead. Really lovely, bright, colourful pictures, and lots to keep kids' interest. If you've got any kids that are into, transport history, that sort of thing, I think they'd like this one. Again, gorgeous. This is another great big book, and it's the Palace of Facts, and you've got different themed rooms. You've got treasure rooms, an observatory, dungeons, all sorts of things. And then you've got Pip, Alice and Charlie, Doggy Charlie, who are leading you through all of these rooms and helping you to complete puzzles, to find out about all of the different rooms. It does very much feel to me like an adventure game. And it's one of my favourite fact, and this says something about my brain, but my favourite fact was that some trebuchets from history could launch up to 900 kilograms, which it tells you is about the weight of 8 pandas. How did they know how much 8 pandas weighs? I don't know, but anyway, there you go. It was just one of the things that stuck in my brain. Again, you're saying, Helen, you're going to look for Shapes of Nature. I'd add this one as well, because it's a really good book to share around several students. You know, I can see it open on a desk with a few kids around it, and they'd all be enjoying it. Yeah. This one is just there because I do like to show you everything I've read over the past 6 weeks. And my love for Christmas is pretty well known, and I treated myself to this again with my birthday money, and it's all about the food that you could be eating or drinking while you're watching your favourite Christmas movies. If any of you are into Christmas, and you're probably not as mad as me, but I've got to tell you, it's such good fun, and I will definitely be cooking some of the recipes later on in the year. This is what I'm reading next. These are the ones that you got a little bit of a sneak preview earlier. Yes, Candice, you're right. TK Maxx have got Halloween decor out already, and it's never too early for me to think about Christmas, I can assure you. Just you wait till the Christmas link up. It's a bit mad. So what I'm going to be reading next, I got through yesterday this one, which is called Library or Lattes, and it's about it says it's perfect for younger fans of the Pumpkin Spice Cafe and Gilmore Girls. So that sounds good, because it sounds as though, you know, it's going to be okay for year 7s, etc. But it's all set in autumn, so lots of pumpkin spice, bonfires, etc. I'm hoping that reading it might cool me down a little bit. You never know. And then the other one, When the Birds Wake Up, is a verse novel. It's a new verse novel, and it's a debut author, and they were the winner of David Ficklin Book's Search for a Storyteller. So I am really looking forward to this, because I do love a verse novel. So I think that's going to be, that might hit the post rather than one choice, one season. Okay, well, I'm pretty much talked out, I think, and I've probably talked far too much for all of you. You're probably all a bit bored by now. But I do want to say happy holidays. I do only have a cream soda at the moment, but I think I might swap that for a Jack Daniels in a minute. You never know. I think we deserve a little bit of a reward. As I mentioned in my email earlier, I did have an afternoon tea this afternoon. I had an afternoon tea that I prepared for 2 of my older neighbours, and we had an absolutely wonderful afternoon. So I'm full of scones and clotted cream and jam at the moment, which it's a very nice feeling. But I am very much looking forward to having a bit more time to sit around in the holidays and do a bit more reading, and I hope you are too. I hope you've got some good suggestions from tonight, and take care, everybody. Enjoy the summer. I'm sure I'll have lots of tales of the little one by the time I come back. I've got my granddaughter for a week, so can't wait for that. And stay safe, everyone. Happy reading. Bye for now.